What is up, everyone? Welcome back to episode 4 of GUMPTION, Road to Nationals. So I'm actually in the future of what you're about to see. I've already gone to Melbourne for the Australian Sub-Junior, Junior and Masters National Championships, and I'm back home. I recorded everything in regards to all my lifters competing, and it was a fantastic weekend. So proud of everyone and all their achievements. We have a bunch of current national record holders now and national champions through all categories and age divisions. So I could not be happier with the performance of my team. And there's definitely a lot of takeaways for the lifters and for myself as a coach. I think the biggest takeaway is that competition's sometimes out of your control. And I think we have it so lucky here at Hannah Performance Centre, where we have a plethora of warm-up racks, weights, bars, the music is on and it's always good, the environment is there, we have a big crowded area and scoreboards everywhere for people to see. But this Nationals, there was none of that, I guess, Hunter Performance Centre touch to the competition, and that's what made it quite difficult for myself to, I guess, coach in, because I only really coach at my own competitions. And also for my lifters as well, like just the ability to go and compete at another venue, I think, was a big turning point for a lot of them, because they didn't really realise, I guess, the difference that it makes competing somewhere where they're not, I guess, at home. And that could be because of environment, again, the equipment, having to share a warm-up rack with another 6 to 8 athletes because they were limited out the back, having to walk to the platform that takes a minute, you know what I mean? Like things like that just, I guess, wasn't accounted for. But now we can come back to, Hannah Performance Centre, we can, I guess, train to know that those sort of environments can occur, and that can obviously impact performance on the day. So basically for this video, I'm just going to go over a voiceover, I guess you could say, of the entire weekend. The voiceover will, I guess, kind of like roll on over clips, and sometimes there will be no voiceover. It will just be like a montage of the weekend and how the team went. So to kick things off, we arrived in Melbourne on Thursday night, and then we went and checked out the venue, obviously, and then we woke up on Friday morning to attend the venue, and we had Kerry Smith kick off the day in her first session. This was the first hiccup of the weekend, which I'm really disappointed by in regards to the APU. They had changed her flight order and put her in the first flight without any notification. There was no email sent to her when there should have been. There was no communication to me, the coach. There was no word of her moving flights in the weigh-in. Nothing was communicated about her being changed to that first flight. Even on the website, on the APU website, there was no update in regards to the schedule. It's still got the preliminary schedule up on the website, and basically we were in the warm room getting our knee sleeves on, about to start warming up, and then we hear bar is loaded for Kerry Smith, and that was really frustrating because we thought, wait up, no, she's in the second session. We know she's in the second session. I've got it written down here, and they just made a change and didn't notify her or myself, and she ended up missing her first opener. And then in about 7 minutes, we only did 3 warm-ups to our opener. And Keza, being someone obviously who is quite emotional, and she got, I guess, torn up in I guess, the disorganization of, I guess, the allocation of flights, she just crumbled under pressure, and it got to her mentally, and she ended up bombing out in squats, squatting high on her first and second, and that was terrible. Like, she's her first Nationals. She was already obviously really emotional being there and having achieved something obviously so difficult in your first year. She just felt like she couldn't control anything because she was so upset and so frustrated at the change. And to spend all that money to go there to obviously have that sort of result is very heartbreaking, not only for her as a coach, but as an athlete as well. So I was heartbroken for her. I'm going to sit down with Kez, and we're going to obviously probably put something together to send off to the APU and just say this is unacceptable. We still haven't received an email about the change when there should have been an email, because my lifter missed out. You know what I mean? She would have broken multiple national records in the squat, bench, deadlift and total for the M3 under 69 kilo class. So yeah, after that first day we moved on. we got into bench and she ended up benching 60, which was a 5 kilo comp PR. And then she ended up deadlifting 132.5. That's a lot of weight for a 64-year-old. So I was absolutely stoked for her. And I know she will be back and to get those records. And we will be triple, quadruple checking the flights right up until the competition starts next time. And I recommend that for any of the APU coaches out there that are going to be doing these sort of competitions, that you should be checking the session times and flight times and everything very, very frequently. Next up was Damien Parker. He was in the Masters 1 83 kilo weight class. He had a fantastic weekend. This was another hiccup by the APU where they didn't have any microplates in regards to 0.25s. That was very frustrating because that means that we had to deviate from our competition plan. They only had 0.5 increments, and at a national level meet where you're trying to break records by a chip, meaning 0.5 kilos, we had to do an extra 0.5 kilos to make up 1 kilo. So he went for a 201 kilo national record. Of course he got it, but at the end of the day, you can't not have micros at a national level competition. That was very disappointing, and we had to organise plates to be flown up from HPC with some of the lifters that were coming up on the Saturday morning. But when we arrived there on Saturday morning, they must have sourced micros from another gym elsewhere anyway. But at the end of the day, no one on day one could chip records because they did not have 0.25 kilo plates on either platforms. So that was really frustrating. But thankfully, Damo, he's really resilient. We ended up scoring 210 as a national M1 at an 83 record. He ended up benching 130 kilos, I think, which matched his comp PB. And he ended up deadlifting 217.5 kilos, which secured him a total PR in that weight class and category, but unfortunately missed his last deadlift due to balance, which was really upsetting. And that concluded the day one. So I had 2 athletes in the first day. That evening we went to Pro Raw Gym, which was something that I was really excited to be at because I'd seen so many videos about Pro Raw and I wanted to experience it, and it was cool. Like, heaps of equipment, heaps of really good quality machines. But the biggest highlight was just being there with everyone from Perth Emotion, Strength Club in Perth, obviously Hunt Performance Centre. It was awesome. I think at one stage we had the number 1 ranked open 83, 66, 74, 120 being myself, Steve Day, Denny Lee, and Sam Butterworth in the one room. So that was sick. Like, just to, we're 4 of the 8 best lifters in the country are in the same room together, and we're getting after it along with all our own athletes and colleagues. So it was cool to train with those guys. Sam squatted, I think, a 7.5 kilo squat PR. Steve did 285. I think Denny worked up to 217.5, I believe. And I just did my SSB work, my secondary squat day, and I did some light deadlifts. And I was able to obviously train with my clients as well. Semi travelled, I think, an hour to come see me and train, which was awesome to see her. She benched 77.5, which was a massive PR for her at 56 kilos. And yeah, everyone else got after it as well, which was great. And then the next day we had a number of athletes competing again. In the first session we had Luke Talley, Natalie Batalo, Mel Green, Linnea Elborn, and Tiggy Sadler-Barker. So all those guys absolutely killed it. Luke ended up totaling 2.5 kilos more than what was totaled at the Sub-Junior World Championships in Turkey. We knew what the result was. We knew that that's the result we wanted to achieve, was to beat that world record total, and we did it. Obviously, it's something that we want to do next year now that we've qualified for it. But I'm so proud of Luke. He's only 15 years old. He squatted 175, which is, I think, just under or far out, well over 3 times body weight. I think he weighed in at 52.7, and that's fantastic. He benched 95 kilos and deadlifted 120. So that gave him a total of 390, which was fantastic. Multiple records, every attempt was a record, every total set was a record, so that was fantastic for him. I'm very proud of him. He is now eligible to go to New Zealand in a year for the Commonwealths, which I'm very excited for. Natalie did a fantastic job. She's one of the members here, and she ended up winning the under 52 M1s. She actually had a notable deadlift record where she broke at 133 kilos, and she wasn't keen to go after it, but man, it was awesome to see her pull that and set a record straight, which was fantastic. And then Mel Green, again, another national champion. She's also a member here at Home Performance Centre with a notable deadlift. I think it was at 193 kilos, which is monstrous for an M1 lifter in the under 69 kilo class, sorry. And that was fantastic to watch. She is a true veteran of the sport and an absolute legend in itself, and she did a really, really good job of performing outrightly so on the day. Lene Elborn came third in the under 76 kilo M1 weight class, and she had her first comp nationals, and it was really, really, really good. We wanted to just go in and have fun and experience, obviously, the competition itself. She was so nervous, but she did such a good job holding her own in an absolutely stacked field in that weight class, and she ended up coming third, which was fantastic. We attempted to go for the state deadlift and total record on her last attempt. However, we had a hiccup with sniffing too much ammonia at the back, and I think we'll take that into consideration the next time she competes. But I hope she comes back, because she's only a very new lifter in the sport despite being an M1 lifter, and she has a lot of potential to fill, which I'm really excited about. Tiggy did a really, really, really good job. She ended up coming first in the under 76 kilo sub-junior weight class, so she was only 17 years old. She squatted 142.5 kilos, she benched 85 kilos and deadlifted 140 kilos. She PB'd everything, which is great. Bench didn't turn up on the day because of the fact that she wasn't used to the equipment side of things, and the calls were really, really strict, so that threw her off. But I think that's something that we just need to consider moving into the next block of training as she gets ready for the Commonwealths at the end of the year in New Zealand, since she made selection, which is fantastic. Every attempt for her was a record, which was fantastic as well. Next up was Ned Turner. He had an eventful day. He actually ended up totaling by, 60 kilos, which is ridiculous. He was in the 83 junior weight class. Very, very proud of Ned. We made the switch to sumo, and it just worked beautifully for him. A couple of things on the day which didn't go his way. Didn't squat to depth on his third attempt, and just wasn't strong enough for 132.5 kilos on his bench. Which was heartbreaking, but I'm still very proud of the fact that he turned up for his deadlifts and secured a massive total PB. We then also had Kelvin Tran. Kelvin was on for a monster total PB and possibly a third place until we got to deadlifts and he cramped on his opening attempt. Kelvin has a history of cramping, but only during squats, and we worked out that it has something to do with nutrition and being lean, but we got all those things right this time around. We didn't do a weight cut. We made sure we were hydrated. We made sure we had enough salts in our body. But at the end of the day, he still cramped on deadlifts, which was something that happened for the first time. And Kelvin was literally so close to podiuming, which was something that we had set out to achieve after starting together. And I was heartbroken for him. But at the end of the day, I think it's just time for him to go up a weight class to the 83s. Where we will be filling out and getting bigger and holding on to more nutrients, micros, macros, things like that. And that's going to most likely benefit him moving forward. Next up, we had Jack Willis. He had a field day. He probably had the best result out of the entire weekend of the men. He went 8 for 9, only missing his third squat. He had I think a 10 kilo PB on bench and a monstrous, 20 kilo PB on deadlifts, which was insane. And that was only in the space of 5 months since he last competed. So he had a really, really, really good day. And I look forward to seeing Jack move into the opens category next year and obviously continue developing as a lifter and as a student in exercise physiology. He's definitely someone to look out for in the future. Next up, I just trained after that actually. That was a massive day. I think we had a total of like 7 or 9 lifters, something like that. I was exhausted at that point, and we got some gumption about us. We got a bit of ticker, a bit of mongrel, and we ripped into our primary bench day. Myself, Sam, Dave, Jay, and Steve all got into it. So a bit of a peacock contest with the gorilla time into performance, but that was good fun as well, just to hang out with the boys and get the bench in and just talk a bit of shit all together. The final day, actually I'll take a sip of water first. The final day was all to do with the 52s, the 93s, and the 69s, and 105s. So a massive day on Sunday. We had Jasmine Taranea-Wiwat. She was a national champion at the end of the day in the under 52 weight class. She had 17.5 kilo total PR and had the best deadlift of the day, in my opinion, all the whole weekend. Had an absolute battle with 122.5, and I'm so proud of her. I have been coaching her for since February 2021, I think, and she had not touched a barbell or a weight in that time, and for her to come away after that amount of time to be a national champion is something that I'm very proud of for her. And I look forward to seeing her continue growing. I think we're going to take some time off and try and build some more muscle, as that is obviously the lowest hanging fruit for her and her own progress at the moment. So I'm looking forward to helping her facilitate that growth moving forward. So very happy with Jasmine. Next up was Owen Brown. Owie had a 15 kilo total PR after states, but we still didn't, capitalize on what we presented in the meet from his training. His training was sensational. I think we totaled 647.5 in training, and we only walked away with a 622.5 kilo total in competition. We squatted high in our opener, got on our second, squatted high in our third, and depth was not an issue in training. I'm just not sure why depth was not there on the day. It must be just like an execution thing, or just the rules are a lot stricter at the national level. Multiple things to consider. And then bench probably went the best out of all three lifts. Just adapting obviously to the new Eleiko racks is something that's obviously really difficult. And then deadlifting just didn't have enough gas in the tank in the end, I guess, and probably mentally checked out after squats. If squats don't go to plan, it's really hard to pick yourself back up, so I'm sure he's probably going to take that in his stride as a lesson moving forward to get the most out of his training leading into his following year as a junior next year. Next up we had Cody Alleman. Cody had a bloody good day. He had a 42.5 kilo total PR in 4 months worth of training since States in Queensland. And he has improved out of sight. He got over getting over a back injury since starting with me, and we were able to work together and persevere to give him the best outcome on the day. I think we squatted 200, his first ever 200. We benched 130 and deadlifted 210, which is something that he is stoked with, and we can come back next year to absolutely obliterate that again and crack the 600 kilo total range. And then last but not least was young Laura Chapman. Laura had broken 2 national records in the squat, however, had received a warning in celebration of throwing her belt on the platform. We've got some footage of that which we'll put up, and that was a warning because the belt throw was directed at the referees and the head ref did not like that, so she got an official warning for her behaviour. And then unfortunately on her third attempt for her deadlifts, she swore on the platform because she was upset with people recording her after she had snot come out of her nose when she was attempting her second attempt deadlift. And I was so upset for her because I know how hard she trains and how hard she works to get those results. And at the end of the day, for you not to be able to, bathe in the success of what you've been trying to do for so long is really heartbreaking. So I feel for her. I feel for the fact that she missed out on getting her qualification to go to Commonwealth at the end of the year. Missing out on being a national champion, missing out on solidifying those records as a junior in her final year. When it comes to things that you can't program to fix, that's the hardest thing. It's up to her whether she wants to take it as a pivotal thing in her training to train as hard as she can to get back to where she wants to be, with controlling her behaviour and her outlook on competing. That's the thing that she needs to work on, and she will be able to express the best level of strength she can on competition day. So I look forward to helping her achieve that and get the most out of her results in that regard. Now, the last person that I will recommend you all listening to is young Ethan Cahill. He was in the battle with the 105s. There was actually 5 of them that were really on that day. We had Alex Foreman, Matt Foley-Lewis, Ethan Cahill, obviously, Brody Vacchetti, and Declan Gillies. I hope I said his name, from Tasmania. All those 5 boys were battling out in the 105s, and it was absolutely fantastic to see. They were neck and neck all the way through, right until the last deadlift pull. Ethan had a really good day. He squatted 272 kilos, which was the second most weight of the day, going 3 from 3. No one missed their opening or second or third squats. It was really, really tight after that. We knew that if we missed a squat, we would be out of the race, and so did the other boys. If anyone missed at all, you're out of the race. Unfortunately, Ethan was the first to fall during his bench, and multiple things were in occurrence of why he fell apart on bench. In that regard, it's all to do with the fact that he has too many variables that can go wrong with his bench technique. The handout is really hard to give. The grip, sometimes it is inconsistent with the amount of things that are on the bar, and how wide he is. The wrist wrap can hit the upright and also hit the safeties. And this is one thing at Nationals is the referees check the safeties and put them at the right height for you. So because his arch was quite big, his safety was set to 7, and when he would come down, his elbows would literally touch the safeties, and that would obstruct his ability, obviously, to descend the bar. And that automatically was misgrooving him, and we didn't realise that till after the opener. So he got only 2 out of 9 white lights on bench, which was really heartbreaking because we had been training that style of bench press for so long. And we knew automatically we were out of the race for podiuming, and we had to obviously work forward towards getting a 4th place against Declan. So played some numbers in the deadlift to try and make that happen. Oh, by the way, Ethan ended up benching a national record at 170.5 on his opener, but missed the other 2. But anyway, we missed our opening on deadlift, which was really surprising. He just knocked the bar and didn't deadlift like how he's supposed to, which was really disappointing. So we had to reattempt that. We smoke it, and then on a 3rd, we've got some footage here, which you guys are probably like, of us getting into his ear about pulling for 4th place.
Okay, well, you go home. Right, you come back next year, you try again. The next year, after, you don't go dogs. Right, you're the big dogs now, right? Ready? Come on! Let's fucking go on! Right, I'm not even kidding. Right, I'm not even kidding. Come on! Now, give it to me. Come on, you got to be here right now. Are you here? Yeah. Let's go. Come on. It's your last chance, okay? Let's go. You make last balls. Do it again, okay? Come on!
Anyway, we go out into the platform and we absolutely give it our all to pull for 4th place. I was absolutely convinced that he had locked this out, and I was really upset for him to have not received white lights for this. Apparently there was multiple faults with the lift. Apparently knees weren't locked, there was downward movement, shoulders weren't locked. Every ref gave a different card, so we didn't know what the end result was, but at the end of the day, we loaded the right weight on the bar for him to obviously execute as best as possible. And ironically, Declan, the guy we were trying to pull for to beat, ended up missing his 3rd as well. So we could have realistically came 4th, but hypothetically, we could have come 3rd if he had made all his benches, as we had planned to do an extra 10 to 11, 12 kilos on the day after his opening bench. But that never obviously turned out to be the case. And that's it, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this preview of episode 4. It was all about not me necessarily, just about my team and my lifters and the community that we have here at Home Performance Centre and how they went at the Junior, Sub-Junior Masters National Championships in Melbourne. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll be looking at focusing back towards me, obviously, and my training moving towards Nationals in October. Our next episode will be releasing very soon, okay? Take care, guys, and I'll see you soon. Peace.